Oh,
Oh,
there
there
we
you
go.
go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a little picture I
Oh,
took from the final, and then I just put it on a canvas, and so I have that
oh, oh,
as a
that's so
memory.
sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I remember you were talking about the last session, and I have some recollection of there being a variety of autographs on the wall. And I think,
Right.
if I recall, I think someone corrected Belmont to be Smellmont as well.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody signed. Because over the years, I can't tell you how many times I've painted inside of there. We painted, and then we had that mural
Yeah,
put in there.
that's right.
The
Yeah.
layers of paint that were on those walls,
Mm.
pretty crazy. But yeah, everybody said goodbye to the rink, and um, I, and I think that's what Belmont Iceland's one example of how a community rink just impacts. I mean,
Mhm.
like I said, when we had that going away party, we had people who hadn't stepped in the rink in 20 years that
Wow.
wanted
Yeah.
to come back and say goodbye. And just by walking in, it brought so many memories, and you can't and you keep until you've done that, until you've gone through that, you don't know the importance of it, I think. But you are reminding people of that importance, which I think
Mm.
is really good.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's really the goal, I think, of the podcast. I mean, we're at year 9 of this journey, and next year is year 10. So hopefully we'll have something coming up for the 10th anniversary. But yeah, I mean, are there any kind of memories you want to share of Belmont or anything you want to tell our listeners to kind of close?
I think some of the fun memories I have we used to have the yearly winter extravaganza
Mm.
ice shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember the skaters behind the curtain getting so excited to go out there and show off their skills. Even little Alysa Liu
Yeah,
skated
yeah.
in those shows back in the day, and all sorts of skaters, talented skaters, and just the excitement and the applause from the parents. And we've created magic there. It's always been.
Hello and welcome to this month's episode of the Silicon Valley Ice Sports Podcast. We're very fortunate to have Jeff Crandall with us today.
Hi,
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
thank you.
Jeff has an incredible history, which we will dive into. But Jeff, do you want to give us a little bit of an introduction yourself?
Yeah, well, I grew up skating at Belmont Iceland from the mid to early 80s, and then I went back in early 2000s to coach. And so I was at Belmont Iceland coaching up until the time we closed the doors.
Mm.
And now I'm in the desert in Palm Springs greater area and at the Burger Foundation Iceplex. So with a whole new crop of skaters. So it's quite fun.
Love that. Yeah, and that's how long ago did you move down to that rink as well?
So we bought in 2021 and we moved in 2022. So, and the rink opened 2022. So,
Wow. So
yeah,
brand new rink,
brand
ground
new rink.
up.
Yep. It was actually when we were purchasing our house, it was just a field desert. So we walked
Wow. So you were like an
there.
early adopter, like
Yeah.
jumping on that train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I came on as director and helped that program get going for the first uh, plus over and got that program going and started up the skating academy and all those courses and the coaches and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So basically skating entrepreneur is what I'm hearing. So
Well, I don't know about that, but passionate about skating and wanting skating in our communities. And we're fortunate to have the Burger Foundation. So it's interesting the way it worked out. We have the Coachella Firebirds, which is an AHL professional hockey, which is the farm team for the Seattle Kraken. And
hmm.
so when that team got developed, the Oakview Group, which is the owner of the Acrisure Arena, partnered with the Coachella Firebirds, built this arena. And it's quite interesting. It was originally supposed to be in downtown Palm Springs on Indian land. And rumor has it that if that had actually gone through, the ice surface that we have the Burger Foundation Iceplex on would have solely just been a practice surface for the hockey team and
Hmm.
not open to the public.
Oh, wow.
And when that deal fell through, the Berger Foundation, which is a very th philanthropic foundation here in Southern California, Riverside County, had this land, and they donated the land to Oakview Group to build Acrisure Arena.
Wow.
And that's how the Iceplex, the Berger Foundation Iceplex, came to be because they saw the need for an ice rink here in the desert.
Hmm.
Just like a lot of communities, the local ice rink here in the desert closed during COVID. And so there was
Hmm.
no skating here in the desert for those few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, and it's tough for those, rinks to recover as well. As we know
Right,
from the
right.
peninsula, Redwood City closed permanently during the pandemic. So
Exactly, exactly.
getting that ground up momentum going can be really difficult.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah.
And unfortunately, those skaters had nowhere to go. So some ended up having to travel down to Riverside, an hour and a half, 2 hours away to Irvine, and so many skaters just quit. So when the rink got reopened here, we had a lot of skaters who came back to the sport,
Oh,
younger and older. So that was a lot of fun to see those skaters be so excited to have ice here in the desert.
that's awesome. And sounds kind of like comparable to the Bay Area with us like opening Bridgepoint a little bit, but
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing where, and it's interesting here too because the community here is small. And so I can't tell you how many times as director I was on the morning news, during
oh,
Christmas, I was
yeah.
on the ice from 5 to 7 every morning or during those broadcasts with Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, talking
Oh,
about ice skating,
yeah.
St. Patrick's Day on talk shows. We would have these recitals, and the local news would promote our little recital and interview our skaters, and they're out there doing their
Yeah.
bunny hops. And so uh, lots of support. And obviously, the Firebirds hockey
Mhm.
had a lot to do with that. But
Mm.
even that, we have this huge arena that's got 12,000 seats, and we have Firebird games. We have Madonna, Harry Styles, and all
Wow.
these people. And then we have the Iceplex next to it, which those, even though it's right in the same building, we're still constantly educating people that we have an ice rink open to the public and you can come in those doors and skate. Even though
Wow.
it's right there, people aren't expecting to see an ice rink. So even 2 years into it, we're still promoting that we have ice.
What have you found is like most successful for promoting that's worked for you guys? Since I guess
Ah,
discovery is kind of one of the challenges.
I think I think you have to I think people are limited in what they think about skating. I think they think it's either hockey or figure skating, or they think it's too difficult.
Mm.
I'm the president of the board of SoCal Adaptive Sports. One of the things we did
Oh,
is
wow.
I created a class for adaptive skating. So we're
Mm.
opening the doors. We have sled hockey happening
I love that.
this month with adaptive skating. Um, Broomball parties, special events,
Yeah.
but also really promoting the fact that you and I, Sarah, know the benefits of sports, and we know
Yeah.
this benefits of having people come to a place indoors, especially here in the desert where it's so hot. It's so nice to beat the heat, and uh, challenge yourself and support each other. And um, I think promoting that versus just promoting triple axles or winning hockey teams and all of that, or hockey games. I think that's uh, where rinks need to focus on the
That's such a
community.
good point. And that was something that I think Belmont did really well because I rarely remember a time where the goal skating there was go run after your triple axel. And certainly there were people landing them, but it wasn't
Right,
the
right.
point. I remember just how warm and welcoming staff was. Alyssa was awesome. You were awesome. There's so many coaches there that were just sort of this like warm embrace. I think that's also why the closure was so traumatic, is that it was kind of like this family was breaking apart
Very
as
much
well.
so. And I think
So,
there's a lot of firsts that happen there. I mean,
yeah.
it's interesting about talking about the adaptive skaters, that come and take classes, and a lot of them do pretty well because they have challenges every day physically,
Hmm. Hmm.
whether it's in sports or just day-to-day stuff. And skating is not a natural thing. Balancing on the ice is not a natural thing. And so there's a lot of character development that comes from challenging yourself, and with that, the support of the family and the community to help skaters get from point A to point B is really, really important. And so we all remember, I mean, I remember all the first of myself as a skater on the ice, and I remember every axel I ever taught on that ice at Belmont. I remember every double axel. Kate Wang, she landed her double axel the morning after my wedding. I got on
Oh,
a Friday.
wow.
And I
Yeah.
went
Also,
into,
you were working after your
yeah,
wedding.
I got up early because I knew she was close to her double axel
Oh,
and got up and went to that early morning freestyle and she landed it. And so I will never
wow.
forget that. And so we all have those stories. And
Yeah.
that there's just been generations of these old rinks that that's true. That's true for so many people.
Yeah. Well, and that one in particular had been around so long. I mean, I think since the 60s or before.
Yeah.
And so,
50, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just such an ingrained place with, history and culture. And I mean, I've heard stories of, rock and roll, stars skating there.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Oh, for
wasn't alive
sure.
for it.
And Bruce Springsteen's sister used to skate there. Did you
Oh,
know
wow.
that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. Give us these
Bruce
fun
Springsteen,
facts.
yeah, Bruce Springsteen came in a few times to see his sister
Wow.
skate. And of course, famous skaters like Brian Boitano trained there, and Kristi Yamaguchi and Rudy Galindo, and so many before that too. When I was training, we had the Italian national champion who trained there. I remember a big deal in when I was a young skater was the director there would put on a show called Razzle Dazzle,
Hmm.
and it was a huge production. It would take months to rehearse, and imagine, Sarah, this little rink where they would actually bring in bleachers
Hmm.
and
Wow.
put around the side of the rink. So even the ice surface being as smaller like
This
it was,
small. Yeah.
make it smaller with lights around. They would bus in people from different communities and schools and from senior centers, and it was all in the news. And they would bring in old skaters from the ice follies to skate and
Wow.
do solos or partner up with some young skaters and do a group number. Everybody from Richard Dwyer to I remember Brian Boitano skating to the music from the Electric Horsemen.
Hmm.
He came out and he was wearing a blazer, like a cowboy hat and a blazer that lit up. And
Wow.
this was before he was Olympic champion, but he was
Wow. Wait,
wise. Yeah. Yeah.
that's amazing in itself. So,
Yeah. And
wow.
so, and then when Belmont closed, there was a handful of us, including Brian,
Yeah.
that all got together and we had the ice for a couple hours and we all got to say goodbye to the rink. And that was really moving to have people who had not been in that rink for many years come to that to say
Yeah.
goodbye. And we all talked about just the smells of Belmont Iceland, right? You could smell it when you walk in and and I think, the reason it was around for so long is the part owners were the Zamboni family. They were passionate about ice sports.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there were many years where it wasn't making that much money,
Yeah.
but they knew the importance to the community to have a place like that. And we see the impact of losing the ice rink. We see how it does affect the communities. And so that's heartbreaking for a lot
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah, it really was. I don't know if you know this, but I actually was asked to interview for the radio the day that they started destroying the rink, and that
Oh,
I think I cried during that interview. It
yeah,
was just so just heart-wrenching and like so sad. Um,
right.
so. Yeah, I mean, I think it really affects everyone in the community, whether it's, racing to get more ice time or just those. I mean, there's so many coaches that I know that had to leave the area because there's, less work, there's less
Yeah.
ability to help. So,
I mean, I moved my skaters to San Francisco and San Mateo and Dublin, but I spent uh, those next 6 years getting up at 4:15 every morning and driving into San Francisco and
Mm.
managing that and the
Good
parking. And
on you for doing that. Yeah.
yeah, San Francisco is a
Yeah,
beautiful rink, but
it is.
not easy for kids on the peninsula to get
Mhm.
down there and skate and then get back down the peninsula to go to school.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's, to answer your question about how do we do this? And I think, if you have a foundation like the Berger Foundation that can donate land, that
Mm.
understands the power of community and understands the benefit, I think communities that can look into that. You look at Utah, for example,
Mm. Mhm.
where they have so many facilities, and partly because the Olympics were there, right? So they had built that, but more so the community rinks that are sponsored by the local cities.
Mm.
And
Wow.
they see the value. So you go to a rink in Salt Lake City and there's an ice surface, maybe two ice surfaces, but there's also a gym, there's a
Mm.
swimming pool, and it's a community destination. So you may not have all your children skate, but maybe they're swimming and one's skating and one's doing this. And um, I've always been frustrated that the Bay Area hasn't done more of that because we know we have the money and
Yeah.
and I know land is expensive, but families there are willing to support programs for their children and for
Yeah.
themselves. So not just children, you know.
Yeah, well, and that's the interesting caveat too, is that, adult skating, it seems like has sort of taken off a little bit as well lately. And so with that, you have these skaters who are showing up to the rinks and they're self-motivated and they're
Right,
self-funding. And so,
right, right.
maybe with that we'll luck out in the next couple of years. But
Well, and here we have the Desert Figure Skating Club here, which was originally founded in the early 80s when they had a rink here previous that was in a mall,
hmm.
typical mall rink,
Oh
and
yeah.
that shut down years ago. And then we're finding now that to manage ice time and to promote figure skating specifically, it's really important to have the support of a skating club and
Mm.
have skaters support the club because
Interesting.
you know, always the challenge in every rink is the hockey versus the figure skating, right?
Mhm.
Battling for
Yeah.
time. And I
Mhm.
think good management understands the benefit of both and doesn't
Mhm.
turn one on the other,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I also think having a skating club where you have numbers to support, we're going to bring skaters in for this amount of time, makes it a lot more powerful because figure skating technically has always been sort of at a disadvantage because it's
Mhm.
maybe one family or two families advocating for themselves
Mhm.
versus a hockey team.
Mhm.
That's a whole different thing. So
Mhm.
I think continuously for rinks too is not just the lack of rinks, but also managing hockey time and time for skating and all the other things that need to be on the ice.
Yeah, really, really balancing it. And I think
Right.
that's a really interesting share too, because I think um, there are some rinks that have, a heavier hockey pull, certainly, and there's some rinks in the Bay Area that have a heavier figure skating pull. And
Yeah.
having that balance, I think, is really key. And something that I saw for Bridgepoint in particular was kind of the pull from both communities and also curling and
Right.
other
Curling.
sports.
Right.
So,
Right.
there's all these sports that sort of came together and showed up at the city council meetings, and the community got what it wanted. It took some time, but 400 people in a city council room plus a few rooms later, there.
Right. Right.
So,
I remember reading a letter from Rudy Galindo at one of those city
yeah.
council meetings that he had written and had me read for him. I think too, just I've never met a skater that wasn't, successful on the ice and successful in school and got through the journey of it and didn't become a successful human being. I mean, we have all these young skaters that are now cardiologists or scientists or working for SpaceX, graduated from Yale or marine biologist and very, very smart people who are giving back to the communities and giving back to the world. And the one thing in common with all those people is figure skating, and everybody's journey is a little different, but I think we can't discount that as something that doesn't happen when there's not an ice rink. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Doesn't happen. And I think what you've been doing the last, how many years have you been fighting?
9. We
9
founded it.
years,
We
right?
founded SVISA 9 years ago.
Yeah,
Almost 10.
and so
Yeah.
that's uh the power of persistence and passion and smarts. You know, you've led this cause very brilliantly. Um,
It's a team. I'd like
Team,
to take credit for everything, but no, it's very much
yeah,
been, a warm embrace, I think, from the skating community to make it happen.
I think so. And it's a small world.
Yeah.
But I keep tabs on the Bay Area because I so many of my best friends are from there and my coaching friends. And I'm still on text chains and I miss it very much. I don't miss the traffic of the Bay Area,
Oh, yeah. Hard.
but
Yeah.
and I encourage people to come and check out the skating here in the desert
Yeah.
because we have a beautiful ice rink here. It's a beautiful facility. We have seating at our little rink with 250 seats. It's got locker rooms. It's state-of-the-art ice and sound system, and we're right attached to Acrisure Arena. So sometimes we'll be out there skating, and there'll be celebrities coming in and skating, or the crew. We had Madonna's crew coming out and skating when
Wow.
Madonna had her concert, or we'll
That's
be
so
like,
cool.
there's a you know, musician Stevie Nicks was walking
Mm.
through the building and stuff. So
Wow.
kind of
That's
fun.
awesome.
Fun.
That is really fun. And what a nice perk too. I wish we could do that up here.
I know it is
And have
pretty
Lady Gaga
exciting.
walk from
It is
Chase
pretty
Center.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fun. It's definitely unique. And I think that's kind of the wave of the future too, is combining
Yeah.
that the forces because you have the Firebirds, you have Oakview Group that manages Acrisure Arena, and then you have the Burger Foundation. And so we have these three business units all working together. And so it is very different than a mom and pop rink.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is definitely a corporate entity. But skating and ice sports are the same no matter what building they're in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No,
And
exactly.
even here in the desert, it's been an education to educate families about what it is to be a skater, what it is to be a hockey player, what does that mean? And um, so it's a continuous journey all the time.
Definitely.
I actually have a skater that's a national level skater that I'm a secondary coach to. He trains because of the rink shutting down. He had to transfer to Irvine.
Oh,
So
wow.
his main coaches are in Irvine,
Hmm.
but I coach him here in the desert. And we have the local news coming out on Wednesday to
Oh,
interview him
fun.
because, again, benefit of being in a smaller market,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
looking for news stories and local people to interview. And they are very excited to, you know, promote recreation here in the desert.
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Well, also, I mean, I think it's kind of neat. Like you maybe didn't quite tap into this too much, but desert and ice just seems like such an interesting combo, like
Right.
in
We
contrast.
say
Yeah.
we're the coldest spot in the desert, which is true. And it is. It's so nice because we get to 120 degrees here, Sarah. It's like
Wow. I was gonna
outside.
ask because we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
talking about like Joshua Tree, and I remember that being distinctly hot.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. I was actually in the pool before we started talking.
I love
And
that.
so I can swim before I go teach, and then I have to bundle up and then go to the rink. And actually, our rink is quite warm because it's a new rink. And
Hmm.
what they did is they built it somewhat underground.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, so
Conservation.
that's for conservative. And the whole building was built to be very sustainable. So
I was going to ask you about that because being in the desert, I mean, obviously here in the Bay Area, we really care a lot about being
right.
environmentally friendly and doing things right. Are there any like sustainability lessons that you think might apply up here or just broadly?
I know that they I don't know too much about it other than the whole building was built to be uh, zero carbon footprint and sustainable. And I know through solar and
Yes,
through
about that.
the way
Yeah.
it's designed, it's very important to Oakview Group and Acrisure. And so and very important to the Burger Foundation as well. So it all kind of came together.
That's awesome. So what I'm hearing is it's underground, it's run by solar, and
Yes, you
it's
actually when
sustainable.
you come through our lobby, you actually take a staircase down to the ice,
Wow. See,
which is
this is the creativity we need in the Bay
yeah, which is
Area.
a little odd because you have to take your rental skates down there if you're, or carry your skates down there. But yeah, and then there's windows on top, but
Okay.
they're up higher. So and they did that because of the heat to
Yeah,
keep
the
everything.
circulation and
Yeah,
like keeping
yeah.
the temp
And
down.
even the arena, everything is down low.
Do you guys get the same puddle we used to get in Belmont, or is it like
Nope. Yeah,
rated?
they actually the ice, and we have a ice maintenance crew that they're right on it with their ice cuts. They do beautiful ice here, uh,
Amazing.
and they the challenge is we don't have a pro shop, so I started selling
Oh,
skates
oh,
for
cool.
Jackson just to
Yeah.
create a little website because we were sending people to uh, LA to order skates or
Mm.
sending them online. And so Jackson distributor reached out to me. And so I do a little sizing just to get people
That's
on
cool.
onto those beginner skates.
Yeah, yeah. I think my first skates were probably Jackson's. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a good just starter, get on the
To get them
ice.
out of the rental skates.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, as good as rentals can be, like as soon as you start into anything complicated, it's a lot
Right.
nicer when you're on
Right.
skates.
Well, it's important to have,
Mhm.
right? So as you're learning these new turns and
Mhm.
steps and everything, and we have a jump class, a spin class. I teach an edge class. We have
And I know your jump classes are good because if I recall, you're the one who gave me the tip that helped me land my axle.
yeah. Well, I was gonna
So,
say one of my axle
yeah.
memories is with you. Yeah, I love teaching jumps, and so we have a harness, and we do the pole harness, and so don't have too. We have again, we're starting from the ground level here. We have a lot of little babies and little ones that are learning, and
Oh,
we just had a test session on Saturday, so that was pretty exciting with our club, and um, uh, so it's been fun to start over and to uh, educate families and see how excited people are to be on the ice, especially here in the desert. There's a lot of people who've never been to an ice rink before, so they get on, they're like, "Whoa, what is this?" And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, as you know.
yeah. No, I mean, obviously, big fan here.
Right.
So,
Are you
no,
still
but
are you still skating a lot? Have you been skating?
not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah,
I just moved to San Mateo, so I'll be skating a lot more, I think, in San Mateo. So I'm now a much shorter commute there.
that's right. That's
So,
gonna be good.
but I haven't been in the jump classes as much, although
Well, you got to come to the desert and come skate.
yeah,
Oh,
I
and
would love that.
I have this on my wall, this little Belmont Iceland. Do you see this? Can you
Oh,
see?
I think it's blurring.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh,
Oh,
there
there
we
you
go.
go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a little picture I
Oh,
took from the final, and then I just
oh,
put it on a canvas, and so I have that
oh, oh,
as a
that's so sweet.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I remember you were talking about the last session, and I have some recollection of there being a variety of autographs on the wall. And I think,
Right.
if I recall, I think someone corrected Belmont to be Smellmont as well.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody signed. Because over the years, I can't tell you how many times I've painted inside of there. We painted, and then we had that mural
Yeah,
put in there.
that's right.
The
Yeah.
layers of paint that were on those walls,
Mhm.
pretty crazy. But yeah, everybody said goodbye to the rink, and um, I, and I think that's what Belmont Iceland's one example of how a community rink just impacts. I mean,
Mhm.
like I said, when we had that going away party, we had people
Mhm.
who hadn't stepped in the rink in 20 years that
Wow.
wanted
Yeah.
to come back and say goodbye. And just by walking in, it brought so many memories and you can't and you keep until you've done that, until you've gone through that, you don't know the importance of it, I think.
Mhm.
But you are reminding people of that importance, which I think
Mhm.
is really good.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's really the goal, I think, of the podcast. I mean, we're at year 9 of this journey, and next year is year 10. So hopefully we'll have something coming up for the 10th anniversary. But yeah, I mean, are there any kind of memories you want to share of Belmont or anything you want to tell our listeners to kind of close?
Oh, I think I just some of the fun memories I have is our we used to have the yearly winter extravaganza
Hmm.
ice shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And and I just remember the skaters behind the curtain getting so excited to go out there and show off their skills. Even little Alysa Liu
Yeah,
skated
yeah.
in those shows back in the day, and all sorts of skaters, talented skaters, and just the excitement and the applause from the parents. And we've created magic there. It's always been one of my favorite shows. Even going to other rinks or other, I always felt like even we were able to put on some really fun, creative shows for skaters and for their families. And whether it was building props together, the costumes, and so I think about that a lot. I think about just the coaches that I trained with, that I worked with, and just seeing the development of these young humans accomplish their goals. And I've always felt like everybody's journey is the same in skating, whether you get to nationals or to the Olympics, or you test, or you just stick with it for 5 years or 10 years. The 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 challenges you put yourself through are the same. And I've always felt like I don't want people to, if they quit skating because they want to pursue something else or they their life just changes, I've always wanted them to never regret that and always feel like skating is always there for them. We're always there for you. The rink will always be there for you, and uh, so I just when I think about the rink, I think about, of course, the physical rink, but I also just think about all the people that have come through there and that I've had the privilege of getting to know, and and so it's that's where my memories are.
I think that's a perfect place to close things out. Jeff, this has been lovely to chat with you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
So nostalgic talking about all these good times. So
And we got to
really,
get you back in the harness for the axle. We got to get your axle
yeah,
out there again.
yeah, I think we do. That's my inspiration after this. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you, Sarah.